This stylish monochrome, almost Vogue-like photograph of George gives us at least six key body language clues about his more confident personality as he hits his 11th birthday. George has had some fast track growing up to do this past year. His mother's illness will obviously have had an impact on the entire family. But there's also been fun moments for him as well, like when he got to fanboy Taylor Swift, and then his appearance with his dad at the Euros. This pose seems to reflect quite a few of those changes in terms of the past year. Firstly, and undeniably, there's a growing aura of confidence from George now. Now, George had often shared very similar body language traits of shyness as his dad. But this pose seems to emphatically inform us that he's now growing into a much more confident young man. If we look at the shoulders and the way that he holds his shoulders here and the spine, the actual overall body pose, it's a lot more assured and relaxed. He's not getting that kind of rigidity that people get when they're worried about the camera. I mean, I know Kate will be behind the camera, but there's still that thing that kids do where they suddenly change the way that they pose. But even the way that his hands appear to be hanging in his lap shows a certain lack of tension in a very grown-up looking way. And it doesn't look as though anybody needed to make him laugh here. And again, another trait that we get with children when they're shy, you'll get a smile out of them for the camera, but it usually looks as though there's been quite a few funny faces pulled or toys involved to get the smile. But this implies a certain ownership here. This is his own look. It's a very congruent, natural, and again, relaxed looking smile. It's also, I feel, a slightly more sensible and reflective look from George here. It's not a childhood pose anymore. He's not running on the beach. He's not playing in the garden. It seems to reflect a more responsible and maybe thoughtful version of him that seems to be emerging. The third point is that it's a more complex, loving mouth smile that he's performing here. It's an asymmetric smile. And I find that very interesting, very intriguing, because it appears to me as though he's asserting what I'm now seeing as a much more individual personality trait than maybe he has before in the past. This is not a mirrored smile from his mum or his dad. And I know George does mirror his dad a lot. If we see their body language when they're at football, they're like two peas, one bigger pea and one smaller pea in a pod. But that's not coming from the smile now. William's smile is always rather suppressed. When he smiles, we can see a lot of puckering of the muscles, the lip muscles, and he always looks as though he's sort of slightly trying not to smile. Kate, on the other hand, tends to have a perfectly symmetric smile. And so with this asymmetric smile that is actually pulled up at one side, we're seeing a very different personality maybe emerging from the rest of his family. It almost hints at other role models. It's maybe that, he's not just running with the family team now. He's got friends outside the royal family maybe, and other influences, other role models, which is always got to be a good thing. The fourth point is his eye smile. Now, when small children smile, they tend to, or pose for camera, you tend to get a widening, a rounding of the eyes, a look of excitement. Here, though, he's got a much more narrowed eye smile. And again, there's almost a hint in there of a growing firmness. This is something we saw in Kate. For many years, Kate smiled, but as the years went by, there was a growing firmness about her facial expression that I think really added to her profile of this is the woman that will be queen. And I think with George, there's a beginnings of a look in his eye that is almost like a nod to the fact that he will be adopting this royal role, he will be the king. And it's almost a nod more to his great-grandmother and his great-grandfather. It's that look of an ability to assess and an ability to be firm as well, if necessary. I love the fifth set of signals because this is like much more of a pop star option now. This is the cool George beginning to emerge. It's very stylish. His style choices here drop hints that this is a boy who is moving in Taylor Swift style circles now. He's lost the blue and white stripes and the sort of childhood colours now. We've got an open neck white shirt. We've got a very stylish looking blazer. This is not even the combo that he wears to football. He dresses like a mini-me of William at football, and we get the kind of matching suit and tie. But no, this is a lot more relaxed look. And even with the hairstyle, we've got a much more fashionable hairstyle with just that quiff hanging over the side of the forehead. So again, a little bit of a pop star influence, I think, going on there. And then lastly, with his eye gaze, again, this is not a straight into the camera, I've got to pose for my birthday photograph and mum's going to make me smile kind of a pose. He's been caught slightly sideways and looking upwards slightly. It looks as though he's been caught in a moment rather than having to sort of pose up for the camera. And again, this implies a kind of ownership of the pose, which implies that growing sense of confidence. His smile and his expression, it's slightly indulgent, yeah, hi, rather than, I've got to get this pose finished with. So he's not playing to the camera, but he's indulging it lovingly for the camera. So again, this looks like a young man who's beginning to make his own choices and therefore beginning to grow in confidence.